Shifting your weight in the golf swing can be very tricky to master. A lot of us as golfers find it very difficult to do as we get to the top of the backswing and get this transition move, working this transfer of weight from the trail side of the body all the way onto the lead side. We find that we almost try and get this move, but we end up leaning too far back and staying on the trail side of the body. Well, in order for us to be able to change this and get this weight transferred and shifting onto the lead side in the downswing, we need to first understand why you're doing this in the first case. Why are you getting this sort of reaction on the downswing that's causing you to stay behind and onto this trail side? So for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Harry, PJ Golf Professional, transforming golfers worldwide down here at the Golf Projects. And for those of you who are new, subscribe and comment down below the tips or drills video topic you'd like me to cover in a future video. So if you're someone that's really suffering with getting this transfer of weight onto the lead side, the key to this is you're not using the ground reaction forces to your advantage. You're not using them correctly in order to be able to get this transfer of weight taking place all the way onto that lead side of the body. And I want you to remember this for me for later on in the video. For every force acting on a stationary object, there is always an equal and opposite force taking place. And the key to remember there is opposite reaction. So if I was to try and hit a golf ball now, I'm just going to do a practice swing for this now. And I'm going to swing up to the top, and a lot of us golfers, obviously we're trying so hard to get that pressure shifting onto this lead side of the body, and then we end up leaning back this way. Well, why have I just leant back that way? I've not done anything purposely to lean back like this here. All I've done is I've tried to transfer this weight, adding this pressure first, and then I'm getting this reaction taking place that's pushing me away from the golf ball, that's pushing me back to getting this transfer of weight taking place, shifting almost back onto the trail side of the body. And this is all to do with that opposite reaction. As soon as we begin that downswing, we are pushing into this lead foot here to really try and encourage that pressure, that shift taking place into the lead side. But because of pushing from this motion here, there's always going to be an opposite force reacting upon it, going to go in the same direction. So in full swing then, when we try and make this action take place, we're trying to get that shift taking place into the downswing here, or because we've almost added too much pressure too early into this lead side of the body, it's going to force us to push away from that side, because the force taking place, the ground reaction force, well, the force is taking place in that direction. So it's going to push off in the same direction, the opposite direction. So we're pushing here, and as we press off, we're always going to be inclined, just because of the way we're stood as well, to push backwards as we swing down this way. This is what we call a reverse center of pressure. We get this pressure working this way to begin, and then it feels like we're leaning back and we push back off like so. It's a nice move to have for those long drive players out on tour. We'll get to here, they'll really push off to get this angle of attack working more upwards. But for players that are really focused on improving their scores and getting that compression with their irons, we want to be getting this weight shifting onto the lead side and getting this compression taking place. Well, in order for us to do this, we've got to get the forces that we're applying into the ground taking place in the correct direction. If we're applying the force in this direction here, as we start that downswing and we push off this leg like so, this is why a lot of you struggle to fire your hips, by the way. Sometimes we'll try and get this shift and then try and fire the hip out of the way, but you can see as I'm firing my hip here, I'm always inclined to be pushing back away from this lead side back onto the trail side. And again, it's because I'm applying the force in this direction. So what if we would be able to change that force, that directional force, to begin that downswing phase, rather than pushing and pressing into the lead side to begin, because we're getting the opposite reaction taking place this way. We want to get that opposite reaction taking place to shift forward this way towards the target. Well, in order for us to do that, we've got to apply the pressure first, almost delaying this turn taking place in the downswing, delaying this transition by adding more pressure into the trail foot. Now bear with me just for a sec. Think about it this way. If we're going to press into this side, we're always going to be inclined to do the opposite. The golf swing works in reactions. Whatever we do first, we're always going to do the opposite here. So if we add the pressure into the trail foot, we're always going to want to push off onto the lead side of the body. We're getting this natural shift taking place in the downswing. And for some of you, you can just go ahead and take this away and give that a try. But for those of you who would like a proper drill on this, I would highly recommend staying tuned to this, because this transition and how we get this transition taking place, applying that pressure, is very, very important. If we don't quite do this properly and we just think, oh, I just need to feel like I'm putting more pressure into the trail side of the body, it's not going to work for you as effectively. So keep watching, have a look at this drill, give it a try, and comment down below to let me know how you get on. So to begin with, you don't need a golf club. You're going to place it on the ground for now and have your hands either side of your legs like this, setting up in your posture ready to go. And the first two things you want to be only feeling in the top of the swing is allowing this trail hip of yours to rotate away from that golf ball, staying very much central. We're not going to shift onto this trail side to apply this pressure this way, because we're just going to react and shift way too much and get no rotation. We're going to get stuck and do all sorts of outcomes. So we're going to get this trail hip of ours to work away from that golf ball. And you can see here, as I'm doing this, I'm adding extension into the trail side of my upper body. So you can see there my lead arm is almost just going down my lead leg as my trail arm is traveling up the trail leg. So doing this action here almost feels like I'm not necessarily leaning back or leaning forward. I'm just allowing this almost twist, this extension, this stretch taking place in this side of the body here, the trail side of my core area. So as I'm doing this a couple more times, I can begin now to add this trail hip rotating away from the golf ball. And you can see there's a reason why we get this extension. Look what it does to my body. We extend upwards. In order for us to apply more force, the correct force into the downswing, we've got to create a little bit more of a baseline. Rather than staying down, because we can't apply force into the ground if we're staying low, we've got to extend upwards. We've got to set up to the golf ball, allow this trail hip to rotate away from the golf ball as we get this extension taking place in at the trail side of the upper body. So now it almost looks like here my head is lifting up. The head doesn't move, by the way. It won't move. If you feel like it's moving, it's not. It's just you allowing this body to extend and lift upwards to get yourself to rotate, to extend into the top of the backswing. So when we're in this position here, ready to fire in the downswing, this is the key now, stage 2 for this drill. We've swung all the way up to the top here. Imagine this, we've got that golf club, we swung all the way up to the top. We've extended upwards, ready to apply the correct pressure, the correct point where the pressure should be applied in, which is the trail side, just to begin that downswing. So to do this now, we've got this rotation extension taking place, and all we're going to do is, rather than try and apply more pressure into this lead side here, feel like you're applying the pressure into the trail side. So what it's going to look like here is I'm almost delaying my body turn. We're delaying the transition to take place into the downswing. You can see there's no rotation from this lead hip to fire and begin that downswing. I'm just swinging up to the top and I'm applying this pressure here, maintaining my upper body. The only things that are moving are my knees. They're flexing, which is allowing us to squat down. And you can really exaggerate this here, because the more you exaggerate it here, the better it's going to be for you, because the more you're going to be able to apply through the golf ball and get this natural shift in the golf swing taking place. And I don't want you to worry about the off-center strikes, because a lot of you are thinking now, well, if I get to the top like this and I really squat down, I've got to really push back up. Otherwise, you're going to duff the shot. Well, a lot of tall players do this natural move in their golf swing. Some great players in particular get to the top here, they'll allow for this almost press into the ground, and that's when they begin to unleash and transition into the downswing and then making contact with the golf ball, as it really forces you pressing down to push back up in this direction. We want the weight to be shifting in the downswing. And as I'm doing this here, I'll just swing up to the top again. As I'm doing this second move here, the key to this is we don't want to lean this way. We don't want to lean this way and just flex our trail knee to get this motion taking place. Otherwise, we're going to stay too far behind, and then it's going to get a little bit inconsistent for us. We want to allow our swing center to stay very much over that golf ball as we're applying this pressure into the trail foot. I'm trying to apply more pressure into the trail foot, but keeping this 50-50 distribution. So I'm keeping my swing center, over that golf ball, as opposed to getting this way. And obviously, we're not going to go this way either. We're just allowing ourselves to stay very central over that golf ball and then applying this pressure into the trail foot this way. I can feel it there, really feel that pressure, almost my leg wanting to just push away from this force. And now we're going to get the equal and opposite force taking place. We've pushed it into the ground here. So then from here, we're going to be pushing up this way. So the third step, because this is all to do with the downswing, and how long is the downswing? It's less than half a second. So how much do we really have to think about to get this motion taking place, to get this natural shifting taking place onto this lead side of the body to finish that golf swing? Not a lot at all. So what I'm going to get you to do is, for step one, obviously we're getting this trail hip working away from the golf ball as we're getting this extension taking place, lifting upwards like so. Not a lot. And then from here, we're pressing into the ground, applying this force naturally, keeping everything nice and maintained here. We're not turning and beginning that golf swing here. We're applying this pressure, staying very stable over the golf ball. And then from here now, we're pushing off this trail foot to get that weight shifting onto the lead side of the body. You can see there, I apply the pressure and I push off this way rather than applying the pressure and pushing off this way. So bringing this into a golf club then, there is not a lot that changes with a golf club. Everything the feels wise stays the same. So swinging up to the top, I don't need to think about anything whatsoever in terms of technique, in terms of positions, because it's important we get the body working in the correct motion first before we then begin to apply positions in the golf swing itself. So we're setting up as normal. We're up to the top, we're applying this pressure here, and then we're pushing up and through like so. We're applying this pressure into the trail foot, so then we can push off this trail foot and get this shift taking place into the lead side of the body, into this lead foot, applying this pressure and shifting all the way through to target. So when it comes to actually hitting some golf shots doing this, I would highly recommend beginning off with just a couple of full backswings in stages, so stage 1, 2, 3, but as we're swinging through, just finish off here like this, like a chipping motion, just where the club would reach parallel to the ground. The only reason is that's going to help you coordinate that centeredness of strike better. If we go straight into a full swing, full speed, you're going to feel very unbalanced. Think about it this way, you've gone from adding the majority of the pressure in the downswing into this lead foot to holding this off and adding more pressure into the trail foot. The difference you will feel is too much if you go straight into a full swing doing this motion. So start off with just a couple of full back swings and short chipping follow throughs like this here, just to help you create that sense of awareness of how we get that strike doing this motion. You're going to feel like it's so much easier to do, by the way, once you get used to this. It's like with any golf lesson you've had, online or in person. At first, you'll find it really difficult to do, but eventually you get used to it, and then it gets so much better for you than where you were at in the first place. So, in stages, adding this pressure here, and then we're finishing off like this here. And you can see there on that shot, let me just replay that video for you there. I really encouraged my pressure into the trail side there in the second stage, and then the third stage I could really push off this foot from this reaction, this opposite reaction of the force taking place, to get the weight shifting onto that lead side of the body. Let me just try again to see if Chapman will pick this one up. It's just waking up, I think, this time in the morning. So it's up to the top, feel the pressure all the way through. There we go. Nice little draw on that one as well. That swing felt really solid as well. Very compact, very connected, not too connected, but very, very stable. So once you've done a couple of shots doing this, if you're going to try this at the driving range, hit at least 5 to 10 shots doing this motion, use a tee if you're finding it difficult to do. And then you can begin to build this up, still in stages, working it up to the top, adding the pressure, increasing the speed, and finishing off like this, like the pitching swing you would do. And then eventually you can start to make a few swings in stages going full out. Depending on how you feel with that second stage there, obviously the shot outcome itself wasn't the best, and I don't want you worrying about the shot outcome for now. I'd rather you focus on, right, how was the strike? How was the contact on that one? Because if we're getting this way here and pushing away, then we're more likely to top the golf ball. Whereas if we're getting the pressure here and going through, we're going to get that centered strike much easier. So begin bringing this into a full swing, don't you worry about the outcome, but once you feel comfortable doing this, you can start to make a few full swings in stages doing this motion up to the top, pressure into the trail foot, and swinging all the way through. So again, that one there for me was a little bit ground first, and that's just because I didn't push off the ground quick enough. So it's really important that when you start making these full swings, you're pushing off this trail foot all the way through to target quicker to allow for that center strike to take place. So it's up, pressure. That was much better. A little bit to the right, but I'm not worried about the direction. That strike was really, really good. So I'm going to bring this in now into a full swing, all in one motion. And the key to this is beginning slow, working up to the top, feel that pressure, and then pushing off it to get that weight shifting forward in the downswing. And then once you've begun getting used to this and start to see that dispersion begin to get narrower, then you can begin to increase that speed and start to work your way up into those full swings. And that right there is exactly the simplest and easiest way you can get this shift taking place in the downswing. For those of you who enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a comment down below and be sure to hit the subscribe button, as I'm uploading now 3 videos every week to help you transform your golf game. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the downswing, you can click this video right here, and to subscribe you can just simply click that button right there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.